Hi, everyone. It's Shira Raymond, and I'm so excited that you've decided to take this journey with me um, on shifting your perspective, moving from powerless to empowered. It's a really important first step in your journey to self-healing, and I hope you get a lot out of this course. So in the first week, you're going to understand the victim mentality and identify the roadblocks to empowerment. What is keeping you back from having that empowered um, move to empowerment? So you're going to learn to recognize signs and behaviors of the victim mindset. So are you constantly blaming other people for your situation in life, right? Are you dwelling on a lot of negativity? Have you learned helplessness and you're not sure how to move forward with that? And how about playing the martyr? That's always a really good one also, because it elicits sympathy and you get a lot of validation from other people. But it's not positive validation that you really want to move forward. It creates a dynamic of manipulation and creates unhealthy relationships. And then we're also going to deal with the resistance to change. Change is scary because it's an unknown thing and you're not sure what the other end is going to look like. So I really encourage you to take the opportunity and to notice where the resistance is, feel it, challenge it, and allow yourself to move forward. The other thing is you're going to move from past hurts to present struggles and see how they're rooted in the victim mentality and how how it affects your parenting style, your relationships with your significant other or your children, or maybe even in the workplace. And then we're going to examine breaking free, moving from victimhood to empowerment and challenging those ideas and who you're blaming. Practice gratitude, embrace the small wins. Like, really be happy with the small steps that you're making. There's going to be lots of journaling tools and other tools to help you move forward in that week's lesson. In week 2, we're going to start to focus on shifting your perspective, identifying the triggers. What triggers you is you'll start to see patterns once you start looking for them, whether it be in your significant other or with your children. And those are triggers that have gone back usually to your childhood, because the subconscious mind is like a hard drive and it likes to conserve energy. So when we get triggered, the subconscious mind will go back to the very first time we were triggered like that and pull out your response and say, okay, I know how to respond to this. And that's why our response oftentimes happens so quickly before we can even challenge it. But once you become aware of that, now all of a sudden you can take a deep breath, you can take a step back. If you're feeling triggered, say, you know what, I'm feeling triggered right now, and I need to process this, and I'll come back and complete this conversation later when I have a more centered self and understanding going on of what I'm feeling and why I'm feeling it. We'll also dive deep into understanding your emotional landscape and challenging your automatic thoughts. I like to call them ants, automatic negative thoughts, and I'm going to include a worksheet specifically on that, on what it is that you're saying, those negative thoughts, and then how to reframe them into a more positive, loving way to help you start to retrain your brain to more positive ways of thinking. You're also going to learn to cultivate self-awareness, mindfulness practices, journaling, seek feedback, and self-reflection. We're also going to focus on reactivity versus proactivity. As I was talking about with the subconscious mind, when you get triggered, you're being reactive. You respond very quickly without even thinking about what your response is. So you're going to learn to take a step back, take a deep breath, and to find a different, more appropriate response to the situation. And what we're going to do by doing that is we will now reprogram the way our subconscious mind responds to certain situations. So you'll be able to respond in more positive, healthy ways instead of the old negative, reactive ways. You're going to focus on the power of presence and mindfulness and techniques for non-judgmental awareness of yourself and the other people around you. There's a lot of different tools in this section to help you to move forward with your mindfulness as well. Then in week 3, we're going to be focusing on reframing perspective from the victim to empowerment. So you're going to learn to challenge, reflect on challenges that have happened in your life, really begin to notice that victim voice. You're going to learn to reframe the narrative, right? So you can change, we can change our story. Our subconscious mind doesn't know the difference between what is truth and what is a lie or what is embellished. And so we can challenge those thought systems anytime. In fact, science says that most of the time, what the stories we're telling ourselves over events that happen, probably only about 40 to 50% of it is actual truth, and the rest of it is embellished because it helps us to stay in that victim mentality. So this is where you're really going to start to challenge those beliefs, challenge those thoughts, and move forward, creating a new story. Because you can tell that story any way you want. So whether you want to stay in victim mentality or move forward is your choice. You're going to learn to rewrite your story with a more empowered voice, reflect on the shifts that you're making. Into week 3, you're going to learn to take responsibility and start embracing the responsibility for growth. Nobody can make you grow and change, only you can. You know, they say that if you in a relationship with somebody and you're trying to change them to fit your needs, it's never going to happen. You'll never be happy in that relationship. There has to be certain dynamic in play at the beginning. So the only person you can change in life is changing yourself. And by changing yourself, it does change the perspective of how you view the other person. And it could have a very positive effect on those relationships moving forward because you're now viewing them in a more positive light. Or you may come to see that these people are no longer serving you in a very positive, helpful way, and it may be time to move away from those relationships, whether it be just for a little while or permanently. So you're going to understand ownership of playing the blame game. Ownership is active. It's something you have to work on all the time. You're going to start taking responsibility and telling the truth in situations. It's so much easier to blame other people and other situations than really stepping forward. But when we step forward, then we create a new positive dynamic and light in our life. You're going to take responsibility and learn how to own your thoughts, own your emotions, own your actions, and focus on your circle of influence. Who is it that is in your influence on a daily basis? Is it a positive influence or a negative one? And do you need to reevaluate those relationships so you can create a more positive and empowered influence around you? I love this also, embracing failure. Now, failure isn't failure if you grow and learn from it. Failure is only that when we let go and say, I can't do anything better than this. But Einstein, they say, what did it take him? 999 times to invent the light bulb. And those 999 times, he didn't say I'm a failure. He just said, I learned 999 ways this didn't work. So take that as an example and keep pushing forward and keep tweaking whatever it is so you can continue to grow, move forward to being the best version of yourself. And then putting this all into practice, you're going to be able to start to shift that victim mentality, your responses, into more empowered responses so you can really grow and start to change your negative outlook on life to more positive, empowering ones. And then as we move into week 4, we're going to be navigating hurt and forgiveness and releasing the grips of victimhood. I love the story of Ava Kors. I go deeper into it in the course, but basically, she was a Holocaust survivor, and she said her life didn't begin until she was 80 years old, and she decided to forgive Mengele and the Nazis. Now, forgiveness doesn't mean that you have to go up to somebody who wronged you, especially if they were physically or emotionally abusive or whatever the situation is, because forgiveness has to do with your healing and moving forward. Because until you learn to forgive and move forward, you're giving these people free rent in your head, and they have the control. So this is taking back your control and allowing yourself to heal and move forward. It's really, really important. Resentment is like carrying a heavy chain around, a ball and chain, your whole life. So isn't it time to cut free of that and move forward? And know that it's important to acknowledge the hurts, understand your anger or other emotions, consider the offender's perspective. Now, this is really difficult if you were bullied, if you were raped, physically, emotionally abused. But you have to understand is most of those people who perpetrate those actions were hurt as kids. They were probably had the exact same thing happen to them as kids, whether they grew up in an abusive household, physically abusive, then they are often physically abusive when they grow up because that's all they know. Now, forgiving them is having empathy. Having empathy for them allows you to move forward. It doesn't mean what they did was right, but it means that you are no longer giving them the control to have a negative impact on your life on a daily basis anymore. And that itself is really, really empowering. And then we're going to work on choosing to forgive yourself, because it's very easy then to blame ourselves for why did I allow myself to stay in this victim mentality so long and all those other negative thoughts. But you know what? How does that benefit you? So it's time to forgive yourself and to say, you know what? They served my purpose for a while, but now I'm ready to move forward and to create a better, more empowering life for myself. And forgiveness is self-care on the deepest level. And then here you're going to learn to practice self-care, to start engaging in activities you really like. And if you need to, seek professional help, whether it be from me or somebody else, after you've gone through this course to continue your healing journey. So I hope you enjoyed this 4 weeks. I'll look forward to seeing you on the group calls. If you didn't get it free for being one of the first 15 people to sign up, I encourage you. I have it at $79, which is so inexpensive. And you'll get a lot of value out of it. I'm really hoping to get to everybody on the call and focus and do some healing there online. So look forward to seeing you in week 1.